Hello good people, welcome back to another math video. We'll call this one Friday Night Pizza. How much is the tip? Because we will be figuring out how to calculate tips. Now a tip, that's extra money that is added on top of a bill for a service, usually like a waiter in a restaurant, a hairstylist, a guide, or another kind of service. So there's the regular bill and then a tip is added on top of the regular bill. Because it is extra, meaning like on top of the original bill, we'll figure it out a lot like we figured out tax using a proportion. So here's the first question. The dinner bill is $75. How much money should we leave if we tip 18%? So we'll set up our proportion and we'll say we're going to tip 18%. So we have 18 over 100. And we're going to figure that out. Here's the bill, 75 down here, that's the total bill. And we'll put our variable in right here. This starts out just like you've seen many times. We'll cross multiply and set this up. 100n equals 1,350. Then we'll divide both sides by 100 in order to get n, and n will be 1350. So that is actually the 18% amount. That doesn't mean that we leave $13.50, especially since the bill was for $75. If we're going to put it all together and leave the money, we would just have to add these up. 75 plus 1350. And remember, this was the bill and this was the tip. So the total money that we'll leave would be $88.50. That would cover the bill and would also cover the tip. Here's the next question. A haircut is $35. How much would a 20% tip be? Now be careful, this doesn't ask you for the total that you're spending. It is asking you how much would the tip be. Very similar to the problem before this, but you actually don't have to do the last step. So we'll have our percent over 100, and we don't know the tip amount, but we know the total cost was 35. So our variable will be here. We'll set up our cross multiplying. So 100n will equal 700. And then we'll just be dividing here to get that variable by itself. And n will equal 7. So that's straight up what the tip is right there. So your tip would be $7. In the next example, this one is just another way to get at this. It's a little tricky, but we'll work through it. If the bill was $39.75 and you left a $50 bill, what percent, oops, I have a typo. No, I didn't. Sorry. What percent did you tip? So look at what it's asking you. What percent? So that should be a clue to where your variable is going to go. You don't know the percent. Now, careful. We're not just going to put in $39.75 and $50. How much actual dollars was left behind as a tip? Well, the bill was $39.75 and they left a $50 bill. So the difference between $39.75 and $50, that is the actual dollar amount. If I subtracted those two numbers, I would see that they actually left $10.25. That's the tip in dollars. We don't know the percent yet, but that's going to go here. That's our difference. Now, the original amount of money is not the $50 that they leave. The original amount of money up here is the $39.75. That's what the bill was. Once we have this figured out, that was the hard part. Now we're just cross multiplying. So 39 25.75n is equal to 1025. Divide both sides by this number to isolate the variable. And you'll find that n equals 25.786, and this number just kind of goes on for a while. Blah, blah, blah. So we would probably round this and say it was about 26%. And the way that I got that was, here's my last point. I look over here, there's a 7. This tells me to go up, and I would round up to 26 and say this was about 26%. So there you go. That's tips. Watch it a few times if you'd like. And remember, it's really a lot like tax. It's an extra thing that's added to the bill, so we figure it out with that tax style proportion. Good luck. We'll see you soon.